Sure. I wonder if there's like a better way to do the Patreon thing. I wonder if there's like some API that I could pull from Patreon where like if somebody is a patron of a certain level, we could give them access to the site, like make them an account on the site or something like they log into the site using Patreon account or some shit like that.
Yeah, there probably is a way to do that.
Because then it's like you could just have all of the coaching sessions in one place and all of the the videos don't really matter because the videos are all going to go on YouTube anyway. I guess like for vlogs and stuff they'd be on there. But it would be more so for like the coaching sessions and stuff because I just don't want like coaching sessions getting pushed down the list because of we're making posts for like alchemy answers and stuff.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think that definitely just having like a repository. I mean, we still have the site, right? It still exists.
Yeah, of course.
So we just give them access to that. I don't know. Or we could just make a playlist on YouTube and just add them to the playlist and then link that to people.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really solid idea. Yeah, we should do that. We should just keep a document of like the playlist that's updated and post it occasionally. Be like, hey, there's these videos, or maybe post the playlist in like the description of each coaching video, so that way when we post a new coaching video, people can click to the playlist.
Yeah,
sort of thing. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. All right, I'm going to. Oh, holy shit!
What?
Fuck shit up.
Oh, come on, man. Can you link me the stream?
Yeah. Just posting it in the assembly.
Oh well, this one is for all of our Patreon boys, right? Or no,
it's
$6.
For six and above.
Okay. This is for the Questions and Alchemist boys.
And then need to message our patrons. Weird.
I have time to go get tea. 1 sec.
Yeah.
2 minutes. I have time. I'll be back.
Is that a Pugna shirt I see?
It's a Game Leap shirt.
I mean, I can literally see it. It doesn't look like a Game Loop shirt.
Fuck you, man. Whatever. Dude, I got these rainbow cookies. They have like look at.
Or M&Ms.
No, sprinkles, dude.
Gross.
No, it's really good. They're really delicious.
I'm sure it's just the sugar overload.
I'm actually a massive child who, like, if I see something that's like rainbow colored in the grocery store, like, I'll fucking get it. Even if it's really gross.
You like unicorns then?
Yes. I'm drawn to things that are rainbow, dude. Forgive me for that. Jesus Christ.
You're forgiven.
It's not my fault. It's what just your brain sometimes computes different things. And this is just what my brain is computing for me and putting it into memory and taking out of memory and giving me memories of rainbow things.
I got it. Relax.
Yeah, I could definitely set this thing up to probably work with this site. There's OAuth stuff on here, which is like used for that sort of single sign-on like login stuff, but I don't know if it's like so you can integrate so people can log into Patreon using your site, like let's say your Facebook or something like that, or the other way around. Probably the other way around.
Sweet. Whatever makes it easier for people that are supporting us, I suppose. What I would say.
I would like to do some coding stuff too. I'm feeling like I'm not keeping up to date with things, you know, like I need to get the old creative juices flowing when it comes to programming. So I'll do it probably just for fun.
I'm just gonna post this on Patreon also.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds good.
What's up, John Callahan?
Can you link me the?
Oh,
shit! I'm like.
Did I not link it to you? There you go.
I'm like sitting here eating into the microphone. I'm so sorry, John. I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
What? Come on, man. That's racist.
Sorry.
That's racist, dog.
Sorry, bro.
This guy, man. This guy's a public figure. Racism in public figures these days, man. First Cuckoo, now you? Come on. Lets you to log into Medium with Twitter, log into Discus with Google+, log into Patreon with Facebook, etc., etc. API call must be HTTPS.
Okay. Well, we've got 2 people here.
Cool. That's more than enough.
John Callahan just gets his very own Alchemy Answers episode.
Sure, that's
fine. At this rate.
That's perfectly fine. We can wait a bit.
Yeah.
Joni can come in here. Let me link it to him.
Oh shit. I can't use Discord. Can't use Discord while I'm on a call with you.
Yeah, get fucked, kid. Joni's ready.
Joni Mitchell?
Yeah, he asked if I was a gaming chair now because the link shows just the chair. That's funny. All right, let's get him in here. Is this gonna work? Because we have the cameras.
We'll see.
Hello? 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 Did it work?
Hello, testing 1, 2, 3.
There he
Hello.
is. Hell yeah.
Hello.
How are you two doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's.
Oh shit, it is, isn't it? All right.
Yep.
Damn, dog. Cool.
Okay, roll intro.
Let's see. What do you want to do, Donnie? Should we wait a little bit?
Do we do the intro at the end? Spice things up a bit?
That would be pretty legit. I think that would keep people on their toes for sure. I can't see the stream link now because we start. Oh, here it is. Okay. So let's see how many people we got. We got 3.
Sing a song.
I think 2 of those. I think 2 of those are probably us.
It's possible.
No,
I'm just
me.
looking at the dashboard, so I don't know if I can't. Jorge Garcia,
We
what
got
up, dude?
George. Wait, what? What'd you call him?
Jorge?
Jorge? Is that really how to pronounce your name? I guess it's not Jorg. I've never heard anybody named Jorg before. Am I an idiot? I'm actually pretty stupid.
You might be pretty dumb.
This is so it is Jorg. I'm just joshing you. All right. Jorge.
Okay.
Jorge.
We have 2. We have 2 people.
Sorry, I can't take this guy anywhere. He just ruins everything.
Whatever, man. I can't do any.
Yeah. How do you say Juwan?
Juan? What do you mean, Juan? Spell it for me.
Look in chat.
Jaun, I would believe.
Oh. Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's Juan, dude. What the fuck?
One could say Jenkins can't even pronounce one name correctly.
It's 2.
That was a good one. I got it.
So
I can't pronounce your name.
It's actually a 1-to-1 ratio of people who can pronounce Juan correctly in this chat right now.
This is great.
Wonderful, even.
Okay. What are we doing here? Are we waiting? Do we want to put this one as not unlisted or what?
No, it's unlisted. It's for our patrons. Whatever, man. These people can just ask as many questions as they want.
Okay. As long as Juan and Jorg have a lot of questions, I think we're Gucci. Do you wanna roll the intro and get her started?
All right.
Roll it.
Hello, Dota Alchemists. I'm Jeoni, here bringing you the next installment of Alchemy Answers, and in fact, the first one to air in the new year. I'm here with your host, Donnie. Say hi.
Hello.
And Jenkins.
Hello.
Take it away, you two.
Thank you for that wonderful intro.
This is what, the 16th?
This is episode 16,
Alchemy Answers?
in fact.
Damn, dog, we're getting old.
Are we?
Is it our 6-month anniversary yet? Soon, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We started in what, July? Something like that? I'll have to look back. Anyway.
Just Google, when did Pugna shut down? There's your answer.
Don't Google Pugna. F in chat for Pugna. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the questions. So thank you guys for tuning in. Feel free to just start popping away, and we'll answer them. First of all,
all right. Did we enjoy our holidays? Donnie, how are your holidays? You went to your families. I know.
Yeah, it was great. I went back to my hometown and got to see some friends that I hadn't seen since high school, and others I hadn't seen in a little bit shorter time, but I usually don't go home very often, and got to see my parents for the first time in a year. And yeah, it was a good time. I spent a lot of time just kind of like hanging out with family. I played a lot of Artifact and got drunk most nights. So that was chill.
That's pretty legit. My holidays are very strange. I'm at the Moonduck house, and we chilled on Christmas. It's weird because like 3 of us have overnight schedules, and then 2 of us at the house have basically like go to bed at grandpa hour schedules. So I saw my roommates for probably about 2 or 3 hours, but we did some gift opening. Ellie and I, that's my girlfriend, we got a bunch of gifts. Mott ordered a bunch of gifts on Amazon, and they didn't come in until a little bit later, which was kind of funny and such like a Mott thing to just have like gifts coming in like on New Year's for Christmas because he forgot. Zyori ended up using my wrapping paper to wrap my own gifts. I didn't have any wrapping paper to wrap with. Like, it was a fucking ridiculous Christmas. Mostly, I mean, it was fun. We just played a lot of Smash. We just did gamer shit, typical gamer shit. But the thing is, like, it was fun, but it's just stuff we do every day anyway, you know. So it's like, really, it wasn't any different from like a regular day here because we're just gaming here anyway. So I spent most of Christmas basically like missing my family and the fact that I would. If we were at home, we'd probably be doing like very family-oriented shit. But that's like, it was the same thing in college. It's like you just hang out with your friends, and it's kind of like a regular day sort of thing. On New Year's, we all got drunk. That's definitely more of like a bachelor / college-esque thing to enjoy. It's like New Year's over Christmas, because Christmas is more of like a family thing, and New Year's is more of like get drunk as fuck with your friends thing. So it definitely makes.
Yeah, I definitely fell asleep at 9 o'clock last night, so that was my New Year's.
So did Zyori.
It was great.
He did as well. Yeah, it's weird. It's just weird here because everybody's got like their own little schedule and their own little routines, and everybody's a little bit weird and unstable here because we're all just like gamer nerds. So it's yeah, it was interesting holidays. Okay, can we get a Jenkins 1v2 against Purge and Action Slacks? Depending on the hero, I could probably win that because
just abuse.
You know, if you're at 1v2, you get double the experience, right?
It's true.
Are we gonna say abuse Slacks? Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah.
I think he's just as high rated as Purge, dog. He's like divine. Let me go to my friends.
He's divine too.
Yeah, he's
sure.
What's Purge's rating? Let's see.
He's immortal, I'm pretty sure.
Is he?
I think
so. I don't know if he plays that much, like solo queue at all.
Yeah.
Oh, he is immortal. Yeah, he's ranked 1300. So he's pretty good. Any immortal player is going to be pretty good. So yeah, I could definitely win that if that's a side lane. Maybe not mid lane, but side lane for sure. I mean, us offlaners are used to playing 1v2s, right? So it's like perfectly fine with me. But having a lot of success with mid-sniper lately, maxing headshot in lane and dominating. Going Maelstrom after bans and phase. Any idea if it has legs? I think mid-sniper is pretty good. In particular, there is a lot of Outworld Devourer picks right now and a lot of Medusa picks. These are two of like the hottest mid laners in Immortal bracket, and Sniper does extremely well against both of those heroes. He does really well against Medusa because you can't stone gaze him. He just peeps you from really, really far away. And he's one of the few heroes that can actually do damage through Medusa's shield. So you're basically going to be fine there. And then what was the other hero that I said?
OD.
Medusa and OD. And then OD, this hero has like very, very close up like attack range. And then his spells are very close up range too. If the OD ever gets on top of the sniper, he's dead. But that goes for like every single hero. So I think it's like really, really good because OD is one of these heroes that will just destroy most heroes in lane, but Sniper, he just doesn't have the range to get in range of the Sniper, and Sniper will just like keep the shit out of him. I'm not personally a huge fan of phase boots on ranged heroes just because like, and on Sniper because like I really feel like if the enemy team is gonna get on top of you, like the phase boots aren't gonna help you get away, and the treads they give you like what is it 14 damage and like 14 stats, or is it 12 stats? I think it got nerfed recently, but in any case, like you basically get like 30 extra damage from the treads, and then you get the int, you get the strength if you want to be like a little tanky or something like that. But most importantly, like I really like the fact that the treads gives you the damage, and then it's also the fact that phase boots does like half of the movement speed on ranged heroes. Like it really sucks on ranged heroes, and then the armor I don't think really benefits you that much. Just because, like, if somebody gets on top of you, a sniper, you're probably fucked anyway. So I'm personally not a huge fan of phase boots on ranged heroes. I would say that if you want to go for a boot that's like that on sniper, try tranquil boots. A lot of people are building tranquil boots on like Outworld Devourer, on sniper, on any of these like ranged right click mid heroes because right-clicking no longer breaks the tranquil boots on Crete, so you can just use them to get around the map.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, if you look at the actual math, the phase boots only gives you 8 more attack speed, so that's like very negligible. If you're in agi treads, obviously, versus phase boots.
That's true.
So
that's a good point.
It's actually, if you're getting it for the attack speed, it's not necessarily that valuable. If you're getting it for the kind of like being able to jet just out of range with the phase, I can totally understand that. Like, phase plus Mask of Madness on Sniper used to be really dope because you could just like outrun people and then turn around and hit them until they got close to you and then outrun them again.
Well, it was also nice just because the phase gave like raw damage, so you'd
Right.
be more
Yeah,
you'd be
yeah.
more effective in the early game. But now Treads is more effective in the early game.
Yeah,
And
Treads
the late
gives
game.
you the raw damage actually, so
Yeah.
there is that to consider as well. And then also, I don't know how I feel about maxing Headshot. I still think that Shrapnel is just the best spell that Sniper has, period.
I really like the 2-2-1-1 build just because the take aim to hit over the hill to hit over the river, 1 point to the take aim to hit over the river, and then headshot. Like if you look at the scaling on both headshot and shrapnel, they do dog shit damage at level 1, but then they increase by more than the first level gave. So like the level 2 point in both of those abilities is incredibly value in my opinion. And I think at that point you can either decide to go right click with the headshot build or go shrapnel build, depending on what's good. And I do think shrapnel is a really good spell as well.
Yeah, I don't think you should ever just skip Shrapnel, is what I'm trying to say. It's way too good of a spell and really just helps Sniper do everything that Sniper wants to do, I think.
Yeah, it's good for farming too. Like, you can actually get more experience to get higher levels in the headshot by just going at least 2 levels in the shrapnel.
Yep.
Because think of it this way. The first level in shrapnel does 150 damage. The second level does 350. That's like, depending on the camp you get. If you get satyrs, that's like the entire satyr camp, just with the shrapnel alone, almost.
Your face is frozen, by the way. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know if you're lagging or what, but you just look really stupid right now. It's pretty amazing.
Well, what's going on right now? Do I look fine now?
No, you're just not moving. You're stuck in a really dumb face.
All right, well, I do dumb faces all the time.
I mean, it's just pretty standard.
That's only natural. All right, let me leave the call and come back.
Yeah.
How's that?
It's not frozen for now, so that's good.
Okay, great, good, sweet. So, Frankel's into Necrobook. Hello, William. Great to see you here, man.
Yeah.
Meme incoming. Oh God, please no. Okay, so people complain that
please do it.
Excuse me, sir. I was talking, sir. So loads of people complain that their teammates make dumb decisions, but you can't change how your teammates act. So what are common mistakes and ways to play around them? I would say that, at least from my experience, the most common thing that people lose a shitload of games to is your teammates will go into a fight for some really bad impulsive reason, like they just want to. It's like a fight is going poorly, so it's like, oh, I need to show up to this fight or else my team will flame me, but the fight looks really bad and there's just no way you can win. Like, let's say you go into a fight and your Slark dies first. That's your carry. You're probably not going to win that fight. And then you're like, let's say your offlaner goes in and uses reverse polarity when the Slark, let's say if it's like a Magnus, and then the Slark is dead, so you have no damage. It's like, that is a terrible fight, right? But
yeah, nobody should ever go to that fight after that point.
Right. You have this impulse, though, that it's like you don't want all of that to be in vain. You don't want the Slark dying and the reverse polarity being used to occur without getting something out of it. So you go in that scenario for those reasons, as opposed to the reasons that the reason that it's actually a good fight. And so I would say probably that's like the most game-losing thing. And yeah, I would definitely refer to that as like one by one feeding sort of thing, where it's like, oh, I need to go to this fight because I don't want these repercussions to have no consequences for the enemy team. And basically, you will just like lose the game because a fight that could have just been some idiot going in and then another idiot going in is now everybody is dead. And even if you're one hero and you survive the fight, even if you're like a lich, if you just keep surviving fights because you're not going into bad fights, you will eventually end up being the highest level on your team. You'll eventually end up being an actual problem for the enemy team. Maybe not after the first fight that you didn't go into, but by the second or third fight, you'll actually have a huge impact just in the fact that you survived and did something else in that downtime where your team is just feeding. So it's like, if you go in, it kind of feels like, oh well, we lost that fight anyway. But that's just because you're not seeing the fact that in two to three team fights where your team is feeding, you could be this like tremendous hero that's just super hard to deal with, and that is especially true if you're a core.
Yeah, and to add to that, I would say that it's really good. I mean, you need to know like what your team fighting conditions are to make this call. Like Jenkins was saying, okay, if your carry dies, basically like if your damage dies, don't go to the fight. If your control dies, don't go to the fight. Like basically, unless you're, you know, it's already a fight that you're in, you really should just be able to make that call. Okay, this fight's over now because this hero's dead. We have to have this fight to win, or we have to have this hero to win the fight. And what you should do then is right. So if you're not showing up to fights, but you're just farming the jungle or something like that, that's terrible. But if you're not going to go to a fight, you judge a fight as being bad, then you should immediately go to basically the most inconvenient place for the other team to deal with you.
Yeah. Immediately.
So generally that's like the exact opposite side of the map. Because let's say
cut a creep wave, get the bounties on the opposite side of the map.
Yeah.
If they're in particular, like if they're fighting your bounties but they're distracted, you can get those bounties, then TP and get the other bounties. Like if you lose a fight and you get all 4 bounties because the enemy team wasn't paying attention, you just won the game. Like that's actually super game winning.
Yeah. And yeah, one of the most, I would say, like if you're a support, for example, and your cores, like the fight starts and you're not there yet because maybe you're warding or you're, you know, running to where your cores are, but they go too early and they get killed. You now know where most of the enemy team is, which means that's a really good opportunity to go place wards deep on their side of the map somewhere else. Like Jenkins said, cut a creep wave. Basically, try and create a problem for them somewhere else that is hard for them to deal with because they've committed a lot of resources somewhere else already. That's like the number one thing that you can do for that particular problem. I would say the next most important problem that you can deal with, or mistake that a team might make, is probably just like not dealing with the waves. I think a lot of people will maybe even like you win a fight. Let's say you've won a fight by killing 3 of their heroes, and your team will just start chasing the other 2 heroes.
Chase or go jungle or something.
And the wave is like right next to you. And they're chasing like into enemy territory, but the wave is next to you. So they're running beyond the wave, and there's no way for that wave to get to the tower that you need to hit now. And I'm speaking from experience because this literally just happened in a game that I played right before, where people were running into enemy shrine to chase the remaining 2 heroes. There's a creep wave sitting like halfway down the bottom lane, and we need to push it towards the tower. So instead of chasing, I'm going to push that wave. And if that results in one of my teammates dying because they're diving the enemy shrine, that's fine because they made a mistake, and I'm not going to compound that mistake by doing something even more dumb, which is not pressuring the wave. Because if you think about it, if I don't push that wave and my team goes and somehow they end up feeding these 2 heroes that are running away, my 4 teammates run and end up feeding these 2 heroes that are chasing and being chased into the other shrine, and I don't push this wave, then the other team is going to respawn, and they're going to have a creep wave already hitting our tower, basically. So even if the worst possible scenario happens and we lose 4 heroes because of this stupid chase, if I have pushed the wave into their tower and potentially taken that tier 1 tower or tier 2 tower, and the wave is all the way at their side of the base, at the very least, they're not going to be able to get anything out of it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like idiot proofing your team by simply just managing the creep waves and where they are and what direction they're going.
It's definitely really important. I would also agree that that's, even in like Immortal bracket, that's one of the bigger things. People just get distracted. You get really like obsessed with kills. And Joni actually had a question regarding that, but we got William Patton. Can I call you Willie? Willie says, I love Magnus, but at low MMR, my team doesn't play around each other. Rarely do my teams move together. I'm very vocal and nice, and I try to set up my team for success, but it just doesn't seem to work. I'm not 100% sure what's your MMR. I guess that's a question just to know, exactly what bracket you're in. But I would say that if you have people that aren't working together, like 5 people that aren't working together, then that's pretty rare, especially if like in the draft you were picking a Magnus and you have some melee carry hero like Troll or Slark or Anti-Mage. Like if they don't want Empower and they're not working with you, that's very strange because like why would they? It only benefits them. Like they're getting this like free game with the Magnus and Power, and usually even if carriers are like very selfish people, they're totally into that because it makes the whole game about them. It's all about this big beefy guy. So I'd say that like if you're Magnus, really that guy is the only person that matters. Is just keeping them empowered, playing near them. In fact, I've even seen games won where you have some like troll farming and 3 heroes on the totally opposite side of the map, just doing idiotic things, not working together. But you have a mag plus troll, and the troll's pushing a lane with the empower. Enemy team goes on him. 2 or 3 man RP happens, and then you have the troll Magnus like essentially functioning as this 2-man ganking combo, and that works. Like that's not the 5-man sort of RP team fight scenario that you would wish for, like that your team would all play together on a Magnus, but it's still very effective and a good way to play the game. And if you don't have some, like if your troll or whatever is ignoring you, or you don't have one of those heroes and they're not playing with you, it's actually fine to build Magnus as like a regular offlane hero. You can build into like Mechanism, Greaves, Dominator, get the Blink, of course, for like ganking pickoffs and for team fights. Like if the enemy team is pushing your base, of course your team is going to work together. You play as a counter initiator. You don't need to have your team working with you because, well, your team, of course, is going to defend their own base. So like even in that scenario, a team full of selfish idiots is going to they don't want to lose the game because they're selfish, by definition. So I would say that like yeah, you can build and play on your own with Magnus, and it's still very, very strong. It's worse. I would say it's better if you have somebody who's actually working with you. But if your team is just being like idiots, that's fine. Like you can still build this hero as like a regular offlaner, get all the aura items, get Dominator, Vlad's, Crimson Guard, all these items, and just be a nuisance in a lane. That's perfectly fine to do that. Just play on your own. And then when it comes to defending high ground, you still have this crazy like wombo combo team fight hero.
So I'm going to kind of disagree with you just because I think that you're still approaching this from a perspective of as an immortal player, which I just don't think you have the perspective of what he's talking about. As somebody who's played at, 1K and 2K and stuff like that.
I got to know what bracket.
The bracket thing is really important, but I think...
Really, come on. Where you at?
I think that ultimately you can overcome your teammates' selfishness by simply just putting yourself near them and following what they're doing. And that's kind of what Jenkins was saying. Like, okay, so let's imagine in that scenario, you have a Magnus and a troll. And the troll is he's just pushing his lane. He's just, farming the jungle. Then he pushes the lane up. All you really have to do in that scenario is just be around him. Like you said, the other 3 heroes can just be doing dumb stuff. They can just be feeding in the other side of the map. And your troll would be doing the same thing. He would just be alone feeding if you weren't near him. But because you're near him, you actually, you force him to play as a team, essentially, with you at the very least, just because you're near him.
Yeah.
And, if you think about the general pub environment, especially at the, kind of like the middle to lower MMR, it's just 5 people running around doing random shit. And so if you can put one duo running around doing random shit, it's always going to be stronger than 5 random people running around doing random shit.
Yeah.
And so it's basically you are the only person that actually matters as far as creating teamwork between 2 people, because all you have to do is just pay attention to what your troll is doing. Is he pushing up too far? Okay, I'm going to make sure that I'm ready to jump in an RP. Is he just farming the jungle? Okay, well, I'm going to, empower him and let him just do his thing. And if the wave comes up and he's ignoring the wave, then you just get some farm that way with Shockwave and your own empower. And then you just kind of keep the momentum going. And then, if you want to take it one step further, you can even let your troll go farm a jungle camp. Then you go ward the shrine or something like that if you're pushing up in a lane.
I don't know, dude. That's a little next level.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Warding?
This is how you win games at the MMRs where people don't work with you. Is you literally you find one person who is probably your win condition, and then you just...
That works in every bracket.
Yeah, then you just follow them. You literally just follow them. You completely throw your ego away. You don't have a normal game yourself, and you just babysit this one person. And most of the time, it actually works.
Yeah. It's true. It is it's the YOLO solo players, man. There's always a YSP, you know. Anyway, so we got Johnny said, roughly how many last hits is a kill worth? I absolutely love this question. I think a lot of people go looking for kills, but I also think there are times when enough creeps outweigh a kill.
Most of the time.
I would say my biggest point to make here is I would say the biggest misconception about creeps and about kills is that it has anything to do with gold. Gold does not fucking matter. It doesn't matter that one kill can be worth 5 creeps of gold. Absolutely doesn't matter. The gold is irrelevant. What is relevant is the fact that you are putting a certain hero off of the map for a certain amount of time versus the power of pushing whatever creep wave it is that you're farming out. So like, let's say there's a creep wave right in front of the enemy base. Useless to kill that compared to a creep wave right in front of your tower. Well, I shouldn't say useless because still you'll put the momentum in there into their base. But in any case, like you can see what I'm saying. Like if there's a creep wave that's already pushing, farming that doesn't matter that much because it's already pushing. You've already done your job in that lane. That lane already has to be dealt with by the enemy team, which allows you to make a better strategic move on the map. Killing a Magnus is much more important than killing a, I don't know, Crystal Maiden. Because a Magnus, if a Magnus dies, maybe he's a higher level, and that way, in the 60 seconds or whatever many seconds he's dead, you can set up to take Roshan. You can set up to take a tower. And then once you're around that tower, the enemy team cannot defend it. It's all about what gives you the better strategic position on the map. So essentially, like if you're gonna, like with Donnie's example where you're chasing people into a shrine, if you're chasing like a Lich plus a CM, if they don't have buyback and they're really important for the fights, it's really important to kill them and to chase them into that shrine. And maybe you should ignore the creep wave to chase them. It depends on the situation. It's a hard judgment call to make. I'm not saying one way or the other would be right, but I'm saying there is an argument for chasing a Lich and a Crystal Maiden into a shrine, even if it's dangerous, if they have no buyback. What?
Sorry, your mic is just, it's like kind of lagging out a little bit. It sounds a little bit robot-y, but you're okay.
Yours sounds robot-y too. It's weird.
We might just have some fucked up connection issues.
Maybe. But in any case, essentially what I'm saying is like it's just a matter of weighing the you should really think about like strategy and like what you want to accomplish in the game and just like what's important in terms of fighting and in terms of pushing high ground and in terms of taking towers as opposed to the gold. At least in my opinion, like if you commit everything to kill an anti-mage without buyback, it's like, yeah, you'll get, I don't know, 500 gold for it or something, which is only like 2 creep waves or some shit. But you're going to win the game. So it's like the gold really doesn't matter in my opinion. In the early game, even like kills can be more advantageous than creeps, depending on like if you're killing a hero that is supporting an anti-mage who really needs the support in the lane, you get a level advantage because the anti-mage is getting zoned and then you just destroy the lane. That's important. But if you just can't do that and there's no point in killing the heroes, like that's not going to happen, then you should just farm and not sacrifice farm to do that because the gold is more valuable. You know, it's just it really does depend. Is my mic still cutting out?
Yeah, it's kind of going in and out. I don't really know what the deal is. Like,
do you want to just restart the call?
I don't think it's really going to help, but we can. It's been doing this for like the last few times that we've done calls. So,
that's weird.
I don't know what to say. But anyway, I think I just wanted to add a couple of thoughts to that. Like one thing I've really, because I've been thinking about this a lot recently, whether gold matters at all in Dota to some extent. I mean, it does obviously because items are important, but I've been kind of trying to theory craft if there's a way to play a game and literally just have 0 gold and still win just by simply out strategizing people by creating map pressure through pushing creep waves and vision through pushing creep waves and then removing the correct piece at the right time from the other team's team fight. Because that's really what you're saying is like, it's not about gold. Kills and creeps, gold doesn't really matter. You just get gold eventually throughout the course of a game. What really matters is you're creating map pressure and vision through pushing creeps, and you're creating advantageous team fight or objective taking scenarios by basically taking power pieces off the field for a certain amount of time by killing them.
Yeah.
Kind of like in chess, right? If you kill the other person's queen or you kill their knight or their bishop, basically suddenly they don't have one of their tools available to them, and it could be a very important tool. So yeah, I don't know. I wonder if there's a way where you could literally just like you could push the waves, but then just like not use your gold or something. I bet it's possible to win games
Actually,
in pubs.
a really good argument for this, by the way, is the fact that if you look at a lot of the pro games that have happened since 7.20, there will be games that are dead even in terms of gold, but one team will just like feel like they're doing better. It'll feel like they're stomping, and then eventually they will stomp and they will win. And it's like, how does this make sense though? How in God's name does this make sense? It's even in terms of gold, but it still feels like one team is stomping. It's even in terms of gold for like 10 minutes, but then 5 minutes passes, a team fight happens, it's like a 10k gold lead because the fight goes so well. And it's because the towers that you get in the game of Dota, like they will give you eventual gold lead. Like if you have 3 or 4 towers because of one fights because of good like strategic moves that you've made on the map, even if the gold is totally even, which a lot of the time it will be even when you take towers because you make a sacrifice to group up and take a tower. Enemy heroes will be farming. You won't be farming. So they will still be even in gold, but map-wise, it's way harder for them to play with like 3 to 4 towers gone. It's way easier for you to fight. You win one fight, boom, 10k gold lead. So it's like you can have a totally even game, but the game in terms of gold, but the game is actually not even at all because of map control, because of heroes, and then eventually a fight just happens, and then boom, there's the gold lead, and it's because it's kind of this like unrealized potential gold lead that will be there in some statistical distribution. It's like there's a very high likelihood that a certain team with a certain amount of towers will get that gold eventually, even though they don't have it. I've seen this time and time again casting these games that are like even in terms of gold, but one team is just destroying the other, and then boom, eventually 10k gold lead. And it's like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah, it's actually a really good point, because if you think about it, if you have, the tier 2s down, you're taking a fight near their tier 3, you can't do that if you haven't pushed the creep waves in and taken the tower. And it gives you the potential to immediately take racks afterwards, which the other team doesn't have if they haven't pushed your tier 2s down. So essentially, you're setting yourself up for the ability to win the game with one fight where the other team is not able to do that. Anyway, let's move on. We've got time for like another 10, like 5 questions or so.
John Callahan. Willie, by the way, said he's 2.5k MMR to answer that question that we were talking about earlier, which is about the average, I would say, from people that I've coached and talked with from our YouTube. 2.5k, like 3.5k.
I would agree with that. There's actually one question above that I'm going to answer from Jorge.
Oh, is there? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jorge. Oh, there he is.
Came back to Dota at the beginning of 2018 from a 5-year hiatus and calibrated at 200 MMR. 2,000 games later, I'm sitting at 1.9k MMR. Someone recommended to get a new count and recalibrate. Is that a good idea? No. No, I don't think so.
I don't have much experience with like Smurfs and recalibration and stuff, so I'm not a great resource on this.
The reason I would say no is you've climbed 1,700 MMR in a year. That's a lot more MMR than most people climb over their entire Dota career. So clearly you're doing a lot of stuff right. And I know it's really annoying that your teammates are still bad, but guess what? You're at 1.9k MMR, and so you're going to get bad teammates on occasion. I also get bad teammates on occasion, and it's just a matter of figuring out how to win the game. So
do I.
I was just playing with those. Here's the thing, is like, I think that people have put MMR in this weird pedestal where it's like, okay, if you have this level of MMR, you're going to have good games. And that's just completely wrong. You're not going to ever be guaranteed to have good Dota games unless you are literally playing on a professional team in a tournament. That's the only time you're going to have real Dota. If you're playing in a pub in solo queue, you are going to have a pub solo queue experience, and there's nothing that you can ever do, no matter what your MMR is, to not have that experience. So I would, like, to all the people that want to climb MMR, I get it. You want to be a certain level so you can say that you're this level or whatever. It fuels your ego. It feels like you actually are maybe getting something out of your time investment or whatever. But I know a lot of people also have the motivation of saying, well, I'm going to have teammates that actually play together if I get to this MMR milestone. You're not. It's that simple. So literally just enjoy your time. Like, you're clearly climbing at a pretty good rate. 1,700 MMR over 2,000 games. That's really damn good. I've gained, let's see, I think I calibrated like 2014, whenever like Dota 2 first came out, I don't remember. I've probably gained like about 1,700 to 2,000 MMR in that entire span. It's just like, and here's the thing: if you get a new account and you recalibrate, very good chance you're going to end up at exactly 1,700 MMR, 1,900 MMR.
That usually happens.
Maybe you'll get like 2,000 or 2,300, and then you'll just slip back to about 1,900 MMR. You'd be surprised how accurate the MMR system is. Everybody doesn't want to believe it, but the MMR system is incredibly accurate at placing people.
I would say what your focus should be as a player is just being as high skill as possible, and eventually you'll just be at the MMR that you deserve to be at if you're focusing on that. And focusing on the MMR can be a very bad downward spiral, at least in my experience, and really just trying your hardest to focus on the fact that you could be 4K skilled and still 1.7K MMR, and eventually you'll be 4K. But if you're focusing so hard on the fact that you're 1.7K MMR and you don't deserve it, and you should be higher, and your teammates suck, etc., then you'll lose games because you're just not feeling too great going into those games. And then that means you deserve that MMR. Like, that's part of the game. The mental aspect and consistency between games is part of the game. So doing whatever you can to focus on just being really, really good is super effective. And I say that as somebody who definitely struggles with that. I go on and off with this like notion where sometimes I'll just be like huge victim to like my own mentality and emotions, and I will just get fucking carried away. But I always feel like when I'm in a positive place, I was so fucking stupid for thinking in that particular way. In fact, there's a video that we're going to be putting out today as of recording this where I just sat down and I was like, I've been making fucking excuses lately, and here are my excuses, and here's what I'm doing to solve that. Because like everybody's going to go through these highs and lows mentally, and it's just really important that you're playing during the highs and that you're keeping yourself in those highs as much as you can. And I think focusing on the right thing, at least that helps me a lot, and I hope that helps you too.
Yeah, both Jenkins and I have been incredibly streaky players throughout the time that we've played Dota.
This is probably why we make good partners, man. We're both mentally ill in the same way.
But I mean, there would be days where like I'd look at Jenkins' profile and he'd be like rank 100 or something like that, and then literally a day later I'd look at his profile, he'd be like rank 400, and he'd lost like 600 MMR over the course of the night.
Yeah, that's like literally 15 or 20 games lost in a row or something.
And
like that.
I would have the same thing. There was actually, I think maybe 2 years ago or something like that, there was a time where I believe like 2 or 3 games away from 5K.
Oh my god, I remember that.
And then in about 3 or 4 weeks, I was actually 3.2K MMR. It was literally, and I was just like, when I finally figured it out, I was like, oh my god, I'm so dumb. And basically what had happened is I had gotten to this point where like I started feeling like I had to just carry every single game, and so I was playing completely solo in a team game, and I just continued to lose.
You were the YSP, man.
And I continued to lose and continued to lose. And then I'd like win one game because I'd go back to like maybe buying a couple items that helped my team and like showing up to a fight to help my team out, making a good rotation. And I'd win, and I'd be like, God, this game was so hard. I had to, help my team so much to win this game. And then I'd go play the next game and not do that. And then I'd lose again.
These days, my successful days are the days where I feel really shitty and like I want to binge queue, and I go like even or minus 25 MMR for the day. Those are fucking great days for me. Like yesterday, I ended the game minus 25. But I know that doesn't sound like a huge feat of strength, but it's the fact that I ended on a loss without continuing because I played with a bunch of griefers. I was very upset because of the griefers, and I knew the next game was going to be fucking terrible. So the way that I look at that is I prevented myself from losing like 100 or 200 MMR. And eventually I will get a streak where I win 200 MMR in a day. It will happen. And until that point, all I need to do is focus on not fucking losing 100 or 200 MMR in a day.
Literally.
And I will eventually get back to top 100. That's the way that I see it. So I'm very happy about yesterday. And before this call, before this show, I actually lost a game, and I feel good about it because it was a pretty atrocious game. It was one of the games where if I had kept queuing, if I was still in that queue cycle, I would be losing. It might be my fault. It might be the fault of the people on my team, but it just wasn't feeling good. I was feeling a downward spiral coming on, and I stopped myself. I had to for this, but I've been stopping myself without any specific thing that I have to go do in the past few months. And I know it sounds completely ridiculous, but I'm hoping people understand because this is a very, very addictive game, and I know a lot of people are very addicted to it as well. And I hope you guys understand.
It's very much like the poker player's fallacy, and I used to play a lot of online poker, and there would be the same kind of patterns that would happen in like everybody who played, which is that sometimes you go on a bad run of cards, and like even if you're playing well, you just lose. And then the next time you come back to the game, you're just expecting bad stuff to happen, so you play suboptimally, and then you lose more.
Right. It's like the shit that is statistically likely to happen sets you up to play worse because you're just looking at it the wrong way.
And that same thing happens with teammates, where like you are statistically going to eventually have a bad run of teammates, where you actually could get 5 or even 10 games where your team is just crap. Like they actually are they're all flamers, they're all griefers. It's not going to happen very regularly.
Like 5 carries on your team. Nobody plays supports.
Yeah, this is going to happen sometimes. And what really matters is what happens after that streak. Because like you're going to have this streak. And if you can get out of that streak with only losing like the exact amount that you should be losing, and then you continue on in an even keel and you have like this even streak, and then you go into your next good streak, because you're also statistically going to have games where you actually could basically queue up for the game, pick your hero, and then just sit in base and you're going to win. Like there are a lot of games that happen like that where you can actively be losing the game for your team and you're still going to win because your team just carries you.
You know the funny thing for me personally, the way that my losing streaks end is I get one of those games where I play like such dog shit and don't care, and my team wins for me, and it's like that's the win that sets me. That is just like, all right, I'm gonna start winning again.
Yeah.
and then I feel fine, but it's like, imagine if I just didn't lose all of those games getting to that point.
Yeah. Or even if you just lost half of them.
Right. Took those free wins when they came, because statistically they will come. We would all be much higher MMR, but it's all easier said than done, and it's easier to preach it than practice it, to say the least.
Definitely.
But I've been doing good lately. For me, it's just the biggest advice that I have is like catching yourself on that first game, because if you're on like the 3rd or 4th game of a downward spiral, you're not going to stop.
Yeah.
Like catching yourself before it actually starts, when you feel it coming on, is the way to stop it. This sounds like such an addiction thing. This is like we're talking about like doing narcotics or something like that.
I mean, it is a dopamine addiction, basically. Everybody's just addicted to like the plus 25 MMR. And actually, there was like this sports psychologist dude that I was listening to at one point, and he was saying that you should, like, to train yourself to be mentally resilient against this, you should always quit after losing. So like never play for that next win, because a lot of people like they'll lose one and they'll be like, well, I want to win one, so they'll play another one, and then maybe they win and then they stop. It's like you should always quit with a bad feeling, basically, because you get
that's a really cool idea, actually.
You get so used to being like, oh, well, okay, this is where I have to stop, and then eventually you just kind of don't care because it's like the same.
Dude, I'm gonna try that. I'm actually gonna try that. I'm gonna try to. Dude, that's so smart, actually. Just training yourself to fucking deal with those shitty feelings, because then. Dude, you're gonna be so like mentally resilient in the future. Actually, if you're just forcing yourself always to, even if it's like you could keep playing and winning, just make yourself feel those bad feelings so they don't feel as bad in the future. Like that sounds super legit. You should make a video about that. That's a good one. Actually,
let's say you have like a full Saturday off and you're like, I'm gonna play Dota all day. It's gonna be great. And then your first game, like you're playing well, and then your team literally just starts flaming you, and then they start feeding on purpose, and then the other team's flaming you also, and it's literally just the worst experience ever, and you lose the game. You just get up, and for the rest of the day, you're pissed about that game, and you just have to experience those feelings, and then eventually they go away, because they always do.
Dude, that's
but
super fucking legit. Actually.
For the entire day, you just have to feel this terrible feeling from losing the game, and the next day you're going to come back and be like, wow, that actually didn't matter very much.
David says, "Hi, my name is David, and I'm a Dota player."
Yeah, literally.
This is taking a dark turn.
Yeah.
It always does. All right, let's we'll move on from this subject. Unless, questions bring it back, we can talk about it, but let's see.
Let's do this last one by David Richardson, actually, and then
Big D.
we'll say last call for questions because we're at 50 minutes now or so. So,
Rich people call Richard the short form for that is Dick. So it's David Dixon.
Thanks.
Is also correct. I'll be here all week, by the way.
Well, anyway, okay, so his question was...
Come on, man.
How do you translate in-housing skills to ranked matchmaking? Because they feel like very different games.
That's definitely true.
Nailed it.
I would say that when it comes to in-housing versus ranked, there is actually a lot less of a difference than people think. And I think there's a big issue with like people being comfortable using their mic in ranked. Personally, that's how I feel.
Yep.
And I think that you could probably, get away with using your mic a lot more in ranked. And maybe some people won't listen, but a lot of people actually will. And you can also use ping and chat wheel to communicate as well. And then probably my biggest piece of advice is if you want to communicate like a specific strategy or something like that, as you would in an in-house league to your team, you would just want to do it well in advance. Like during the draft, you can just say, "Oh, I want to play this game like this. I want to play with this hero." Or 5 minutes before, be like, "Okay, at level 6, can you smoke top and kill this guy line?" Like doing it very, very preemptively will make it a lot less stressful. Because like if you're telling some line to smoke at level 6, when he gets level 6, that guy's gonna fucking struggle massively because he just wasn't expecting it. And chances are that's not a play that he normally makes because it's just your idea, not his. But if you do it very preemptively, the guy's not gonna like have that freak out moment where he just does a bunch of really dumb shit and then makes himself look like an idiot, and then you're like, "Ah, fuck it, I can't communicate with this guy." Just really, really preempting things in pubs is going to work pretty well for you, I think. At least in my experience, like going between NADCL and like Face It League in pubs, that's just what I realized is that it's just slower in pubs. That's all, but it's still there, the communication.
Yeah, it's almost a little bit of like a hack too, because if you preemptively say something like a couple minutes before you actually want it to happen, then a lot of the time like it's in the person's subconscious, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I should smoke here," and then they have the idea because you prompted them to have the idea a while ago, and so then they're like, "There's none of that bullshit of like, I don't want to listen to some asshole tell me what to do in this Dota game that I'm playing because I want some control in my life," and then.
Yeah, I can speak from experience on that one.
So yeah, I think that exactly what you're saying. Like, and I know that a lot of people, the people who are active on their mic also have really shit communication habits for the most part. There's like two camps, right? You either just don't talk at all, or you usually talk too much. And there's like a really kind of sweet spot in the middle that is really hard for people to actually find, and it's something that I work on a lot.
I agree. Like the S4 style of communication, where it's like, I have this, I'm coming top.
Like this guy. That is all you need to say. That's literally all you actually have to say for effective communication.
It's ridiculous. I was watching PPD stream the other day, and he just like instantly mutes people, and I'm sure at some point he's muted me, and it hit the nail on the head really with what he was saying. Like somebody asked him why he muted people, and he said like people they get in a game with like a tier 1 pro, and they think the way to impress a pro is to just like talk a lot, and they usually over communicate. So he literally just fucking instantly mutes people, and he said the way to impress a pro is to just say things that need to be said. You don't need to try to be funny. You don't need to try to talk a lot and captain the game and take over. Just fucking communicate things about your hero and communicate things that are absolutely necessary, and don't over communicate, and you will impress You will impress like literally tier 1 professional players. That's what they want to see.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to think, like, yeah, you need to communicate, but if you communicate more than just like the very bare minimum, you're probably over communicating. That's like it's a very weird concept, because you'd think like, oh, I need to know everything about everything in this game. It's better, more information is better, but it's like there's so much. It's too much.
Like there's so many people that are like, all right, well, I need you to do this. Like carries. Okay, so support, maybe he's going to pull. Carries like, okay, I need you to pull. Okay, I need you to like hit this guy. I need you to do this. I need you to do this. And
yeah, I would say that's.
It's like, dude, just relax. Like, let me play my hero. You play your hero, and let me know when you have this skill available so we can kill them or something like that. Like a lot of people. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off because I want to just finish this thought. But I think a lot of people, they look at pro players and they just have this idea that, like, I think people literally think that Arteezy has memorized like the cooldown on all of his teammates' abilities at all times. He does not. He doesn't know that. He literally says, "Can we take a fight?" And S4 says, "RP's off cooldown in 45 seconds."
Yeah.
It's not Arteezy has memorized the RP cooldown exactly for S4's hero. He literally just asks him, "When can we fight?" Yep. And S4 gives him the information. And it's like very, very simple communication like that actually allows you to coordinate a very complex strategy.
A good example of somebody who over communicates a lot that isn't me, because I think I either over communicate or under communicate because I'm just mental. But BSJ is a really, really good player who will very frequently lose games because he's just completely over communicating and like taking over the game, and it makes people like. People will usually either like play like shit because they're just trying to do what he's saying, or it just like clutters things. You know what I mean? And he's also very self-critical of that. This is something that like I don't know lately on his stream, but I remember like a month or two ago I was watching him and he was saying essentially something like that like he thinks he over communicates too much. And when I played with him too, it was like they're actually, this is something that happens on like every team where the captain is just like, I need to stop micromanaging my team. It's too much. It's a very frequent thing that starts that happens, and I think probably in North America this is a bigger problem. Just I don't know, just our culture here, something like that. But there's a lot.
Everybody wants to be the boss,
right? Everybody wants to be the boss, to be that captain that's calling everything, and just like the fucking chess master PPD guy. But if you listen to the audio of PPD captaining, like, he doesn't say that much, and he's the fucking captain. It's like he's just saying what is absolutely necessary.
He's
is
like,
he doing that?
Hey guys, I want to go here next, and then people are like, okay, well, we'll find our way to
he's
that
not
location.
Like, we're gonna go here because this and that, and because Magnus has this, and like he's not explaining shit. It's just like, let's go here. And the question of like whether or not he does that at this point, he probably does that on purpose because he knows he's a very smart dude. I think for a lot of captains and maybe even PPD, like in the past when he first got into Dota, it might just have happened that that's his communication style, and that's why they're such good captains. It might not even be a well thought out like, oh, we need to keep our communications succinct. It might just be because that's how they communicate, and that just makes them a very, very good captain. At this point, probably they all know. Like Puppy knows how to captain because he's done it for so long. But
dude, that's the thing. Look at the people that are the successful captains. Kuroki, pretty quiet dude. PPD, fairly calm dude. Like Puppy, memes aside, fairly calm dude.
He is.
Most of these really successful captains tend to be kind of like the soft-spoken, and I know that sounds weird to be said about PPD, but like if you listen to him in his interviews, he's just like very relaxed and it's just like
all of them. They all are. John Callahan Jr. Is that really your junior? It's your dad senior, but in any case, he says, we have an overly explicit versus implicit culture in North America. We feel there's always information that is not understood. If someone isn't asking questions, we don't assume they know enough. We assume they aren't asking questions because they are confused. I definitely think that's accurate.
Yeah, I definitely see that a lot. Like that's one of my biggest things. I actually should just do the PPD method. It's something that I've started to do is just mute people that are talking too much. Like I know they're trying to be helpful, but at some point it's eventually just going to piss me off because it's like, dude, I know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Can you just relax?
I've been doing that recently too. It's great to watch these very successful pros because you can see the little things that they do that actually make them very, very successful that maybe they don't even realize how important it is. Like, I don't think PPD is muting people because he cares about pubs and wants to win them. He's muting people because he actually doesn't want to fucking hear them. But as a result, he's not getting tilted because he's muting the people that would be bothering him.
Yep.
So it's just like super game winning, and that's why he's high MMR. That's why he's so good. He does a lot of these things that are just great to be a successful Dota player.
Yep. All right, guys. I think we're gonna wrap it up there. We've been streaming for about an hour, and got some really, really good questions. I'm excited to put this one on YouTube. I think people are gonna like it a lot.
Cool. Yeah.
And thank you as always for tuning in. Thank you for supporting us via Patreon. And we changed a couple things around recently. We've added another tier where you can be on our friends list and watch us play and ask us questions via Steam. And we also changed around one of the other tiers. I think that the $12 tier, to where we're gonna do basically a replay review stream like this, but it'll be reviewing people's games.
We're gonna do actual replays. Yeah, we'll just sit down for a night and just go over a shitload of replays, basically.
Yeah. So as always, thanks for supporting Dota Alchemy, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.